Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock on the nose here in southwest Missouri, and if you're close to us, you know it's a glorious morning out there. It is absolutely beautiful. I think it's supposed to get to the mid-60s today, so enjoy. If you're not here, hopefully you're being socially distant and following all the rules and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a neat show today. I've got a gentleman I'm going to introduce here in a minute that I've been wanting to get on the show for some time. He's been real busy up there in Montana and stuff. But what we'll do is we'll visit with him here in a minute, and then once we've got that done, probably about 30 minutes in, we'll take and let Matt do his public service announcement, and then we'll get into some of the housekeeping, the readings and all that kind of stuff. So the stewardship lesson, things like that. So if you're a viewer that's in here every week, we appreciate it. And let me go ahead and roll into introducing Peter Olson. Peter is up in Montana, Kalispell?
Kalispell,
yeah. And he is very much involved with gold and silver. And Peter, let me just introduce you and let you kind of give people an intro.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks so much, Tony. I appreciate you having me on, and it's great to be on your radio show. Yeah, I grew up back in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm a Naval Academy graduate. Served 5 years as a naval officer, and after getting out, got into the corporate America world and realized work in that world was not for me, and have been in the home-based business industry since 1999, working full-time from home, and 12 years in the silver and gold industry, which I absolutely love. So it's been an exciting ride.
Hey, by the way, I got those CDs you told me about last week, and
Great.
I've already had a chance to listen to the first one. That guy is really, really good.
Powerful.
Yeah. So Pete's got a lot of experience in not only the home-based business world, but gold and silver. How long have you been actually marketing and saving gold and silver?
12 years. 12 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, just a touch over 12 years. Yeah, about I started in 2008 as the Great Recession was starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a colleague of mine that said, hey, it'd be probably a pretty good idea that you start stacking up on some physical silver and gold. And I never thought about it. And I started doing my research, and I said, wow, you're right. I better. And that's what I've done, and I've been doing that ever since, and got into business with it. And I think now I've got a little over 10,000 ounces of physical silver and gold, and continuing to add to it every single month.
Wow, yeah. When Pete and I talked last week to set this up, I told him, I said, I've only been doing the monthly coin thing for since last September, and it's actually kind of neat because probably once a week or when I get a new one, I kind of look at everything I've acquired, and it's kind of neat to see something there that's tangible for the dollars that I've paid out to acquire them and stuff. And in most cases, the coins that I've acquired are already way more than I paid for them. In fact, last week I was kind of complaining to Peter because I got one from his company. It was a 2-ounce silver coin made in Shanghai, and there's only 2,000 of them that have been made or minted, I guess
Right.
You'd say.
Right.
And
Low mintage.
Yeah, and I was talking to Peter, and while I was talking to him, I was kind of plugging it in my browser in my office and stuff. And I looked at what they were going for on the internet, and it was substantially more than I had just paid for it. And part of that is the company he represents. He's with a company called Mint Builder. That's MINT Builder. And Pete, you have anything you want to kind of tell the audience as far as an intro on Mint Builder?
Yeah, at Mint Builder, we're a full-service precious metals dealer, with the lowest price physical silver and gold on the planet. And we deal, when I say full service, meaning we deal with everything. We deal with bullion, we deal with bullion, silver and gold, semi-numismatic, and numismatic coins, graded coins, again, both silver and gold. And We just have an amazing, not only the lowest price silver and gold on the planet for one-off purchases as much as you want, but we have an amazing savings plan for those that want to put saving physical silver and gold on autopilot. And it's like a membership, just like being a member of Costco or anything like that. And so we have that, and in addition to that, we have a phenomenal affiliate program attached with it, with some phenomenal commissions for those that want to make a second income in addition to their job. And we have, especially now, we've been growing like crazy with the COVID-19 because everyone's getting into physical silver and gold. But more importantly, I think people are realizing how important it is now. They've had a huge wake-up call to have a second stream of income because so many millions of people have lost their job or been furloughed of some sort, and they realize that they can't just depend on one stream of income, just their job. It's important to have that second stream. So I think a lot of people have realized across the world that those people that have had home-based businesses for all those years are a lot smarter than what they thought before. So that's what we do. So we have customers all over the world, and we have affiliates all over the world in 22 countries.
Well, and the reason why that Mint Builder kind of came back to a front burner for us and for the show is if you tuned into last week's show and stuff, you probably remember me telling you a little bit about my shopping trip. And if you weren't on last week's show, then this will be a new story for you. I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. But I had decided I wanted to buy an ounce of gold. And I went to a company that I've used before. And gold at that time for a 1 ounce gold Eagle 2020 was $18.55. And at that point, I think spot was $17.20, I think it was, something like that. It was about $133 difference. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is I went to, I put it in the shopping cart with this other company, and I went to pay for it, and they would only take credit cards up to $1,600. And I thought it was kind of odd because it was $18.55, plus shipping and all this kind of stuff. So I called the home office, and the lady was like, "Well, you've got to get an ACH form, and then you've got to fill that out, and then you've got to send money to us, and it has to take 3 days to clear, and then, and only then, can you buy something more than $1,600." And she was very nice. I mean, don't get me wrong and stuff like that, but I told her to send it, and, I got it all filled out. Well, by that time, it was the end of the day, and I just kind of put it, I'd do it tomorrow. And then the next morning when I woke up, it dawned on me that, I had access to the same coin, the same ounce of gold through Mint Builder. So, I opened up another browser, and side by side, I was looking at their prices, at that moment. And Mint Builder was $2 less. And I know $2 doesn't sound like a lot, but I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. There's proof right there that Peter and Matt's the owner of the company, have been right all along and stuff. Well, then I got to looking at how to pay for it. And they didn't have any of these silly $1,600 ceilings on what I could spend on a credit card.
Right.
But even better, they had the ability to take a wire, an ACH, a check, Bitcoin, and credit cards or debit cards, and PayPal. I mean, they had 6 or 7 different ways. Now, here's the reason I'm rambling and wanting to get to this, and we'll turn it back over to Peter, is I was inclined to do a check or, something like that, and I went down to the check one and clicked it, and a little message comes up, and it says, hey, by paying for this with a check, you get a 3.5% discount. Now, if you do 3.5% of, $1,800, I think it worked out to like $65 at the time. So now you got 65, plus 2. Now you're buying it really close to spot, and which you never hardly do ever, in our world, and you're getting a heck of a deal and stuff. So at that point is when I reached out to Peter again, and I was like, hey, this Mint Builder is better than I thought.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you had a great experience doing that. And that's really what it's about. I mean, it's always about improving and most importantly, improving the customer experience to make it as easy as possible for them. I think that's the That's really the methodology for any business that's moving ahead, is moving in the right direction, always making it better for the end user.
Well, hey, before I forget, because I meant to say this early on, but thank you for your service. You know, Peter announced that he was a graduate of the Navy Academy, Annapolis, over there. And so we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
A great deal.
Appreciate that. My pleasure.
And, you know, as far as your service in the gold and silver industry, what do you think about what's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in unprecedented times where we are right now, because we've never seen anything like this as far as what we're going through. And you know, in 2008, the Feds borrowed a ton of money called quantitative easing, and went into the trillions and bailed out a lot of people because of the real estate and banks, and they kicked the can down the road with the quantitative easing, and then now we've borrowed way more money than we ever did in 2008 that we never paid back. So what's happening is the dollar is depreciating every single day, and I think the dollar is worth 2% of what it was 100 years ago. So every fiat currency in the history of the world has always gone to zero. So we're definitely well on our way to that. So what do I think? I think it's important, regardless of the situation, that people are stacking physical silver and gold, because it's the only real money. It's God's money, right? It's been around for 5,000 years. That's a wonderful wonderful track record. And you know, I always look at when we talk about silver. Anytime silver is under $20 an ounce, I always call it a fire sale, right? Because it should be valued at a much higher price based on a lot of different factors, but under $20 is a fire sale. So I always say back up the truck and stack as much as you humanly can while the price is still this low. I haven't looked at it today, probably a little over $15 an ounce, but I mean it's ridiculous how inexpensive it is, and so I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but I personally am stacking as much physical silver as I can right now while the prices are so low. I mean, it's just absolutely astronomical how low the prices are, and that's what the wealthy do. The wealthy stack assets while they're low, and they sell them high. And we've got a stock market that's still super high. We've got real estate that's still super high, but physical silver and gold is very low. And I kind of more hedge right now towards silver because the enormous silver to gold ratio, which is I think over 100 to 1 right now. Typically in modern history, 20 to 1 typically with gold. So it has a much bigger upside. But having said that, stacking gold is a wonderful thing too. You can't lose.
Well, you know, that ratio you shared with us, that's the one that goes back 5,000 years, if I remember correctly. And it's a good indicator. But since you've talked silver so much, doesn't your company have a program where someone can get a free gram of silver?
They do. All they have to do is they just for taking an online tour of our company and filling out a survey that takes about 2 minutes, they get a free gram of silver mailed to them right to their doorstep. So, and you can certainly give them your online tour address for that, Tony, and it's a great deal. So literally just for taking a tour of Mint Builder, taking a look, they mail you out a free gram of silver.
Well, I appreciate that. In fact, you know, everybody that tunes in weekly and stuff, you can always reach me at 417-755-0700 or Tony at thegoldaffiliate.com. And I'll be happy to share that with you. I did it myself, you know, a couple months back and stuff. And with just a couple days, you know, I got this orange envelope in the mail, and inside was a letter. And then, of course, there was a little plastic pouch, and it had my gram of silver in it, which, you know, let's face it, a gram of silver's, you know, probably like 50 cents. I mean, a silver's $15 an ounce, and, you know, I think there's 31 grams to an ounce or something like that. So,
yes.
You know, but still, the neat thing is it's a free gram of silver. And I got to tell you, if things get as bad as some people think, it may get to where you go into a store and you need a gram of gold or a gram of silver, or you need an ounce of silver to, put food on the table for your family. I mean,
you bet,
yeah.
you bet, and you're seeing, on Barron's and all the top financial institutions, their writers. So many more articles now about physical silver and gold. In fact, I just read one on Market Watch talking about the title about the stock market, and just saying the stock market probably will be cut in half, but you need to get in on the two most undervalued assets in the world, silver and gold. And so there's a reason, and just to give everyone context, why J.P. Morgan and all the huge banks and all the countries around the world are hoarding physical silver and gold by the millions of ounces, because they know that's the only true money and the only thing that's going to be able to hedge them as we have hyperinflation and as things collapse.
Yeah, in fact, right now one of the big stories out there is how I'm trying to remember the country that's doing it, but Venezuela is having all of their gold pretty much taken by, who is it up there in Europe? There's
I saw that article, but I didn't see the country in the EU that's doing that.
Yeah, because they owe them a lot of money, so basically they're giving them their gold in lieu of that, which I think they're going to regret. But the central
definitely they're going to regret it. The country receiving is glad to take the physical gold.
Well, it was funny, on my way to the show this morning, I got called by a very astute and intelligent investor that I know and so forth, and he just was wanting to chit-chat about a couple things, and he said, oh, by the way, one of his very influential friends was saying you don't want to keep too much cash in the banks, and you don't want to really go pay off your credit cards, because both of those probably in 90 days may be a little different than they are now. And, you don't really want to go off and do anything rash, but it makes a lot of sense to be, as Peter says, stacking your gold and silver. And from prior shows, I mean, there's ways that, we can show you how to acquire as little as a gram or a couple of grams, or all the way up to where we had one investor here recently put several $100,000 into gold and silver. So, I mean, we're able to handle, no matter if they're big or small, we kind of help them all, type of thing. And it pays off and stuff. Peter, I know you are excited about the business side of this. And I guess what I'm curious about is, with your 12 years of experience, plus all your lifetime experiences and stuff, what can you say to the audience right now that would, for those that are looking, if somebody's sitting there and they're listening to us and they're thinking, wow, how do I get involved, or how do I take advantage of this, or, unemployment's going to run out in a couple of months and I need to find something that, pays the bills and stuff like that. What would you say that would help someone, kind of get a start?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost is that you got to start building something for yourself, right? You got to start building your own dreams as opposed to the dreams of your boss that you've been building for the last 30 years, and I always said that, like, why aren't I building my own dreams when I was in corporate America, when I was a naval officer? So that's first and foremost. Number two, the affiliate marketing, network marketing industry is such a great way to build your own business with zero risk and just a huge upside of reward, because the barrier to entry is so small, yet the upside to build an international multi-million-dollar business is so great if that's what someone wants to do, without all the risks of a traditional business. No brick and mortar store needed, no employees needed, no collection department needed, no shipping needed, you don't have to do any design, you don't have to do any merchandising, you don't have to do any of that. It's like business in a box that you work from home, and with enormous financial upside. We're paid weekly, and our commissions comes right to our accounts, or you can take it in physical silver and gold. And the great thing about our company, Mint Builder, is that even if someone doesn't do the affiliate program, everyone still wins because they're stacking physical assets every single month. That's what's so wonderful about Mint Builder. So, anyone that's stacking physical silver and gold is better off, next week than they are today, because they're stacking an appreciating asset, which is a wonderful thing. And in tune to kind of what you just said, you were referring to what the governments are doing and banks are doing, called bail-ins, where banks are literally going in and taking 25% of your account and saying, "Oh, that's ours. This is how we're going to get whole again." That happened in Greece and in Spain, and they're talking about it coming here to the United States. And you also referred to not keeping so much cash in the bank. That's something I did about 8 years ago. I realized I had, at that particular time, I think I had like 60,000 in the bank, and I took it all out except for a few thousand just for the running bills, and kept the rest in physical silver and gold in my home safe. Why? Because I want control. I want my silver and gold working for me, not for the bank. And it's just a matter of time before the banks do their bail-ins here, as they've done around the world. And why not be your own bank and just hold physical silver and gold, especially when it's so liquid, so easy to get cash for it. It's not like a house or some other kind of difficult asset to sell.
Well, and I got to tell you, I've thought many times in the last 6 months about bringing on a safe affiliate program, because everybody I talk to, I tell them they need to have possession. You don't want to put it in the safety deposit box at the bank, because from what I understand, if that bank has problems or goes under, can't they take that?
That's right. So if the bank closes its doors, like they've done in so many countries, your silver and gold is gone. So you want it to have a place that you can have access to 24 hours a day. Whether it's a third-party location that they do that as a business, or you get a professional safe, like so many people have, like I do, and and you have it on your person, or a location that is safe, if you will. But yeah, that's certainly don't want to have it in a safe deposit box in the bank, because if the bank closes its doors, you're out your silver and gold.
Yeah. Well, I've looked at several products, or I guess I should say companies or opportunities, that I guess some people would think are competitors for Mint Builder. And I know, some are based in Europe, and some have, entry fees or membership fees, and some are higher than others, and so forth. What does it actually, and by the way, the reason I say that is one of the neat things about Mint Builder is Matt runs the company out of Sarasota, Florida, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
But what would it take? If somebody, was thinking about, okay, I want to look at joining Mint Builder, how would they do that?
Real simple. I think first and foremost, they should take an online tour and get that free gram of silver, from your online tour there, Tony. And then, but afterwards, it's real simple. They just go to your Mint Builder site, and they click on Shop Now, and they can choose from one of 5 different membership programs, anywhere from $39 a month to $179 a month. It just varies depending upon what coins you get, or what program you get. So very low entry, whatever you wish. That gives you access to the lowest priced silver and gold, physical silver and gold on the planet, and allows you to build an international business with Mint Builder. And it's pretty amazing to think that I think we talked about this, Tony. I've got buddies that own McDonald's and Subways and postal annexes, and my buddy that owns a McDonald's, paid $1.1 million for the franchise and $100,000 for Hamburger University, and has a $50,000 plus per month overhead. And he looks at me, and I do way better than him financially, and I have no overhead working at my home office. So it's nice when you have no risk with your business, and you've got a tangible physical asset being mailed to you every single month to your doorstep.
Well, Peter's been around long enough to where he's made some very, very key introductions or relationships and so forth. Anybody that you can think of that you'd want to, share a quote from or inspiration from, or some little tidbit that might help our audience?
I could probably say that, it depends on what you want, but I mean, I do a lot of self-development every morning. I think that's one of the most important things that anyone can do, whether they're in the home-based business industry or not, or they're just on a job and they want to improve their psychology. I think it's really important, whether, again, you're on a job or you have a business or both, the more that you improve what's between your ears, the more that's developed, the higher your income will be. Whether your rank advancing in your job, you're going up in your company, or you're doing that in your home-based business, whatever the case may be, because the income and your self-development go hand in hand, is what Jim Rohn always talk about. But Zig Ziglar always said, when you help enough people get what they want, you'll have whatever you want. And that is so true. And that's why people that do things business-wise and networks and have tens of thousands of people in their network, or develop something that affects millions of people, that's why they make so much money, because the more people that you change or have an effect on, the more income you make. So the more people that you can help and change their lives, the bigger change is going to be in your life financially in a lot of different ways.
Well, and to take that a step further, because I know a lot of people that are listening are probably thinking, he keeps talking about direct marketing, he keeps talking about network marketing. I don't want to do that, or I've tried that once and it didn't work. And just yesterday, folks, we were talking about. Oh, I take it back. It was actually tail end of last week, because Peter was like, you know what, you need to get these CDs from a friend of mine and listen to them and stuff. And so they came in the mail yesterday, and I listened to the very first one. And what this guy, and he's built multiple very, very successful downlines, as they call them, and so forth. And, one of the things he said is you don't make a list of your friends and relatives. You don't, do this warm market, they call it. You basically don't even approach them, and that's what most people do and stuff. Can you add anything to that, Peter, as far as a really neat way to kind of start out?
Yeah, I mean, that's Tracy Biller is absolutely correct, and what he's talking about is most people approach, if we're talking about this industry, the direct selling industry, going and throwing up all over their friends and family, and look what I've got, and I'm going to do well, and look at this, and that's just not the way to do it. So, Tracy always talks about, when you talk to people, it should be people that have been in the network marketing industry prior. And why does he say focus on people that have had network marketing experience? Well, it's the same reason if you owned a cigar manufacturing company, would you market to non-smokers? Of course not. You would market to people that have bought a cigar at some time in the past. If you owned a hockey equipment company, would you market to golfers? Of course not. You would market to people that have bought a piece of hockey equipment at some time in the past. It's the same thing with direct selling, otherwise known as network marketing. You talk to people that have had prior experience in network marketing. Why is that? Because they have bought the product of network marketing, meaning they have an interest in the industry. So just like any other industry, you want to market to those that have already demonstrated the ability that they like that particular industry, and that's why people that do that do very well.
Yeah, I heard that, and I thought, oh man, that is so amazing, because I mean, I don't think people think that way. I mean, the one I heard that he said was something about a golf item, some piece of golf equipment, and he was asking people, well, where would you go to sell it? And the first response from most of them was, well, I'd go to doctors, because that's what
right.
makes sense. And he was like, why would you go to the doctors? And I'm like, well, they get to play. Yeah, they get to play golf.
Not all of them golf, right?
And I mean, just little things like that, which really, when you think about it, is common sense. But I do like the thing you said about personal development. Years ago, I have a friend down in Frisco, Texas, and he was talking about some opportunity that he had really, really done well in and stuff, and I was wanting to talk just about that, and he said, well, here's the thing. What I have discovered is this direct marketing concept is like a full-time personal development course. He goes, I am learning stuff every day as far as my personal development, and whether or not I sell any products or not, yeah, that's neat if I do, but it's some of the things that I've learned as far as that goes. And I mean, that's a guy that every time he's on Facebook and doing a real time
Right.
or something like that, I kind of try and tune in because he usually has nice little morsels of information and knowledge and stuff. But
I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I've always said that, and with me being a graduate of the United States Naval Academy, many consider the top undergraduate school in the world today. It can't compare to my education, what I call as Jim Rohn says, my self-education in network marketing. And Jim Rohn always talked about it. If one never made one dime in network marketing, just what you get from the education aspect is worth millions, right? So, he always talked about college will get you a job, but self-education will make you a fortune. And it's so important. But yeah, the education that you get from network marketing is incredible.
Well, hey, Peter, we've reached the halfway point in the hour. Is there anything you'd like to say as far as a final comment or anything before we cut you loose?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things for people that is so important, I see so many people living in fear, not just because of COVID, but even way before that, and they're just so scared to take a chance and do something. Build something for yourself, right? Doesn't mean you have to stop doing your job. The great thing about network marketing, direct selling, whatever you want to call it, is that you can do it part-time. And as Jim Rohn said, you can work full-time on your job and work part-time on your fortune. Don't be fearful, because you're only going to gain in experience. I love when I do something and I fail, but it's not failing. I just learned just another way, another experience that's developing me psychologically, business-wise, et cetera, et cetera. So go out there and take some chances, and don't live in fear, because I always say fear is just false evidence appearing real. And just move forward, and it'll be amazing how big your circle starts getting.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us, especially with the time zone difference. He was up a little earlier, I guess, or
yeah. No worries. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
And that should take the little clicky noise away, folks. We're going to take a moment here and let Mr. Matt do his public service announcement, and then we'll finish up the show with the stewardship course.
Public service announcement.
Well, I call it that. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly.
A word from our sponsor.
All right, everybody. If you like this program and you're enjoying it and you would like to see more shows like it, we are asking to partner up with you guys to help us to expand our hours of operation and our programming and everything like that. We've also got autism awareness programs. We have veterans programs. We also have the Helping Hands Fund and many other things. Go online to axmediagroup.com and check it out and see what we got there, because there's also the opportunity to donate there as you're scrolling down and looking at all the cool stuff. Sorry about that. I got something in front of the other. Anyways, axmediagroup.com, and to your right is the Donate Now button, and click that. You can do a one-time donation, or you can become a monthly partner with us and help us to continue doing what we do, which is doing the right thing, serving where needed, and spreading the message of unity in Christ through the Holy Spirit. So it looks like Tony is still over there writing a little bit. It's always
done.
It's always fun to write, isn't it?
I had an inspiration there. I had to write down.
Yeah. Well, back to you, Tony.
Thanks, Matt. And I know there's some things coming up in the future here. We got a telethon coming up, and Axe Fest and stuff. So stay tuned. We've got some exciting things going on here at Axe Ministry. And, what I was doing is I was kind of looking for the websites, since Peter mentioned some of them a couple times. First off, if you just want to go straight to the Mint Builder site, that's Mint Builder, MintBuilder.com /6710. 667-1862. And that'll get you to just the Mint Builder site. If you want to do the tour to get the free gram of silver, that is preciousmetaltrends.com/671862. So preciousmetaltrends.com/671862. And, I'd encourage you to do that, if nothing else, just to learn more about the gold and silver. Because I got to tell you, it is really rewarding, I think, to kind of look and see what you've acquired after a couple of months, and knowing that, what you've been doing is you've been exchanging, as we call it, fiat currency for something that's real, something that's tangible. And, it's just so very, very important to do that. I mean, for example, one of my best comparisons is if in 1965, okay, 1965, if you'd gone into a Ford dealership and you had 2,500 $1 bills and or 2,500 ounces of silver, you could have bought a brand new Ford Mustang. Remember, that was 64 and a half was actually the first one. That was Lee Iacocca's baby. That was the original pony car. That was what was going to save Ford. And so, if you ever got one and held on to it, it's been quite a collector's item and stuff. But $2,500. Now let's fast forward to this year. If you walked into a Ford dealership and you had 2,500 $1 bills and you went to buy a new Ford Mustang, would you be successful? And the answer is not at all. In fact, you might be able to get like the spare tire and, I don't know, a couple of odds and ends and stuff. You would definitely not be driving the new car off the lot. Whereas if you walked into that same dealership today with 2,500 ounces of silver, okay, so nothing's changed. 2,500 then, 2,500 now. Not only could you buy one car, but you might be able to buy two of them. I mean, if you got the 6-cylinder versus the 8 and you didn't have to have every option and stuff, you might be able to squeeze both of them in there. You could definitely buy one and have plenty of silver left over. So it's just one of those side-by-side comparisons I like to go back to, because, I mean, that is just how important it is to have the silver or the gold, because it keeps pace with everything that's going on. Anyway, let's get into the stewardship. I kept talking about it. I don't want to run out of time and we haven't done it. Let me find it on my phone here real quick. There it is. I think today we're actually on course 12, or lesson 12 of this particular one, because this one had 12 in it. And I'm pretty sure last week we did lesson 11. Okay. Lesson 12. Receiving only from God. Abraham's nephew was a man named Lot. Lot was part of Abraham's household until the land on which they fed their flocks could no longer support their growing families and herds. Abraham allowed Lot to choose the land where he wanted to live. Lot chose the land of Sodom. Afterwards, Sodom was invaded by 4 kings, and Lot's family and goods were taken into captivity. When Abraham learned of this, he immediately gathered his best fighting men and pursued the armies to free Lot and his family. He was successful in freeing Lot's family and the families of Sodom. The king of Sodom was grateful to Abraham for what he did and wanted to keep the goods he recovered. Abraham had made a decision before the battle that he would only keep what he recovered for his nephew, Lot, and goods as payment for the men who fought. Abraham understood the principle of receiving from God. He was a man with great integrity in God. He did not want to be known as someone who became wealthy because of the kindness of a wicked king. He wanted others to know that whatever prosperity he gained was a result of the blessing from God's hand alone. Abraham understood an important principle of receiving from God. Jesus also modeled this principle by receiving only what his Father wanted him to receive. God's will for Jesus was to receive based on a carpenter's wage, even though He was the God of the universe who had access to all things. Imagine the discipline Jesus had to have, knowing what he could have had. He upheld his own financial integrity in God. Each of us must discern what comes from the hand of God rather than the hand of man. As business people, there are situations that allow us to manipulate, sweat, and toil our way to profit. There is also profit as a result of hard work done in obedience to our calling to the marketplace. Knowing the difference in these two concepts is a sign of integrity before God. Only God receives glory when we receive what God wants us to receive. Are you receiving the fruit of your labor in God? Ask God to show you the difference of these two concepts for your own life. If this series has been helpful to you, TGIF Today, God is First, is available 365 days a year at Today, God is First, and it's a link. So we will have a new lesson next week, and I will try and pick one that's been as good as this one. I don't know, what do you think of that devotional? That is pretty interesting. I mean, I knew Abraham was a bad dude, you know. I mean, he was really, really good at all the things that he did. And so it doesn't surprise me that he only wanted to receive what was coming from God and not some wicked king.
He was also a military strategist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, well, and for those of you that are Bible scholars and stuff, you know, I think eventually there's another story that comes out about Sodom where Lot and his family were leaving the city, and if I remember correctly, they weren't supposed to turn around and look.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the thing is then that there's a good lesson in that if we keep looking back, like she looked back because they had a lot of stuff, and she looked back to watch her stuff burning, you know, because everything was burning, and she was longing for that stuff, and turned her into a pillar of salt. But you know, whenever the God tells you not to look back at something, don't look back.
Best not to be looking back.
Because I mean, how are you going to see where you're going if you keep looking behind you?
Well, I know that's actually a very good rule to live by. You know, really, you know, you can't change the past, and you don't know what the future has in store for you. So probably best to concentrate, you know, on today for the most part. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get into some of the pricing and see what's going out there in the market. Let's start with Bitcoin, just because I think it's been going up quite a bit. Yeah, Bitcoin's up another 3.86% today. It's up to $9,225.75 per coin. Ethereum's up to $208.20. So, you know, I think they're all looking at this halving that's coming up and trying to get position and stuff. I mean, you know, we've talked about Bitcoin before. I think it's very, very volatile and not something I would ever consider or have somebody, you know, urge someone to get into unless it was a very, very small portion of their portfolio, and if they lost it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, that's not, you know, something that I would think would be for widows and orphans and stuff. Gold, on the other hand, has been doing quite well. Now, today it's having a rough day. It's down $21 right now. So on the ask, it is $16.86. And by the way, these are the precious metals. These are priced per ounce. So $1,686 for an ounce of gold. An ounce of silver would be $15.03. Platinum is $755. Palladium is $1,856, and then rhodium is $6,500. And I got to tell you, the spread in rhodium, and if you're not familiar with that terminology, with all these kinds of assets, there is an ask price, which is what you pay for it, and then there is a bid price, and that's the price you would sell it for. So, you know, you can kind of see both sides of that transaction. Well, with rhodium right now, the bid is only $3,500, where the ask is $6,500. That's quite a spread. So, I don't know, I'd be very, very careful if I was delving into rhodium at this point. Now, the base metals, these are ones that are priced by the pound, not the ounce. And copper is $2.33. Nickel is $5.53 a pound. Aluminum is 65 cents. Zinc is 88 cents. Lead is 73 cents. And what do you know? Uranium is up again. It's up to $33.50. So for whatever reason, I don't know, it's interesting when you look at some of these things. Every one of the precious metals are down on the day, and every one of the base metals is up on the day. So I need to take a look at the headlines here in a minute and see what's going on. Crude oil has been making a nice rebound. I mean, it's up to $24 a barrel. Remember, about 3 weeks ago, it got down to negative numbers. I mean, it was less than zero. And now it's up to $23.98. I actually saw a headline this morning. I didn't read the article because I was in a rush, but it was talking about, oil at $100 a barrel again somewhere. And so I don't know when that would happen and if and all that kind of stuff. But my hunch is that, that market's manipulated enough that if they have their way between OPEC and all the other people involved and stuff, they will figure a way to do that. As far as the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's at 23,887 right now. It's up about almost 4%. Oh, excuse me. I take it back. It's up 0.02%, but it's almost up like $3.94. That's what I was looking at. So it's up for the day, for the moment and stuff. And those are your prices for today, May 6th at approximately 9:47. A lot of things going on out there in the markets and the world and so forth. So anytime you have an interest in more articles to complete your research, your due diligence, your vetting of one of these alternative assets, let me know. As I said earlier, you can always reach me at 417-755-0700 or just an email to Tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. And if I don't know the answer, I'll go get it for you. It's kind of funny. When I started my corporate life, Peter was talking about how he got out of the Navy after 5 years, upon graduating from Annapolis, and got into the corporate world. And early on in my corporate world existence, I learned that the three best words were, I don't know. I won't tell you how I learned that one because it's kind of embarrassing, but I will tell you that those are important words. And even at this age, if I don't know something, I'll tell you, and I'll go find the answer out. I'd much rather do that than try and bluff or shoot from the hip and then later on find out that not only was I wrong, but you found out about it. And, I would have a very red face and credibility would be gone and all that kind of stuff. So not something that I like to practice at all. Let's look at the overall markets here real quick. We're kind of running out of time, but let me just see if I can squeeze this in. There we go. So the top three U.S. indices are all in the green. The Dow Jones is up. Now it's up 97 points. S&P is up 13 points, and NASDAQ's up 106. So, like I said, there's some good news out there. Let's see, top of the news. U.S. private payrolls dropped by 20.2 million in April, worst ever for ADP report. Uber's laying off 3,700 employees. Oil turns lower, snapping 5-day winning streak. I mean, there's just, the headlines and the stories are on each end of the spectrum. I guess they're balancing out. Treasury launches 20-year bond to help fund the record borrowing needed this quarter. So there's a brand new bond that's coming out from the Treasury. It's a 20-year hold, and I'll be curious to see what that looks like. The DAX is down 50. These are European markets. The DAX is down 57 points. The FTSE's up 26. The CAC's down 27. Asia, the Nikkei's down 574 points. Shanghai is up 18 points. The Hong Kong market's up 268. Bonds. Now, here's something interesting. The U.S. 10-year bond, and this is what a lot of folks base their products on in the insurance industry and so forth. But the 10-year U.S. bond right now, the Treasury, is 0.067. So that's not 6.7%. It's 0.067. So that's how low that rate is. In other words, it's almost 0.7%. Not much if you're a saver or retired and trying to depend on that income. The 10-year yield for the German bond, the Bund 10-year yield, is negative 0.522. So they're still having negative rates over there. Now think about that for a second. That'd be like if you put money on deposit with that bond. Let's say you put, $1,000, on deposit with that particular 10-year bond. The interest rate is negative 0.522. And in 10 years, you went to collect your principal plus interest. And in this case, there is no interest. And even worse, there's less principal because it's a negative rate. And then over in Japan, it's now gone back to the negative. There for a little while, it creeped back into the positive, but the Japan 10-year yield is negative 0.019. So both of those are interesting. Oil's down $1.16. Brent is down $1.29. Natural gas is down 0.162. Gold is now down $22. It's at $16.8820. Silver's down 5 cents. It's at $15.06. And copper is $2.33 a pound. And then it gets into the currencies and the futures. Dow futures are up 10, which is nominal. We've had in the last 3 months days where the futures are down or up, 600-700 points, which if you're ever kind of wanting to know, what the market's going to do that day, you can go to this website. I'm just looking at CNBC, and I'm looking at the Dow futures. And usually, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, it has the current futures. And if it's negative, trust me, that market's going to open up negative. And the same holds true if it's positive and so forth. No real change in interest rates with the annuities that we talk about. Let me just make sure here. 7-year, we can still get 2.75 on a 100,000 or more. The 5-year is 2.7, and the 3-year is 2.2. April, that's gone. We got May rates, and there's not much of a change there. Just to give you some pricing on some of these things we talk about, and then we'll wrap up. Well, first off, how much time we got?
You got like 1 minute left.
Oh, we've only got 1 minute. Okay. Well, the $10 gold pre-33 coin is about $1,100. The pre-33 gold $5 coin is about $5.50, and the silver dollars pre-33 are about $23.91. So, just food for thought there if you like that pre-33 strategy we've talked about a couple times. And other than that, I just kind of want to wind up with, once again, thanking our guest, Peter Olson. Peter's one of those guys we could have spent the whole hour, maybe the whole day talking to and never run out of things to talk about. And I want to thank Jim Whining and Pam Whining for making this possible. And, of course, Dr. Paul Collins, who I understand is feeling better these days and stuff. Give a prayer out to Steve McAllister. He's in Columbia, Missouri as we speak, going through some procedures. And other than that, enjoy your day. Wear your face mask. Stay home. And thank you to all the frontline health workers and essential workers that are basically risking their lives to keep us safe and deal with this on the frontline basis. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week, and hopefully your life is full of silver linings.